But you know what? I also realized at that point, like it's going to be, now this turns into a petition. Now they got this thing, everybody sends a petition to that. You really 100,000 you signed a fucking petition?
Ben Affleck finally broke his silence. The two-time Oscar winner, the guy who survived tabloid hell and came back stronger. In private conversations and old interviews, the truth leaked out. 7 co-stars who made his life miserable. Some destroyed his biggest films. Others betrayed him personally. The list is brutal. Number 7. Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock reportedly drove Ben Affleck crazy during the filming of Forces of Nature in 1999. The romantic comedy paired them as two strangers forced to travel together before a wedding. On paper, it looked like a guaranteed hit. 2 likable stars, a simple setup, and natural chemistry. Behind the scenes, however, the experience was anything but smooth. From the very beginning, Affleck and Bullock clashed, and that tension followed them throughout production.
Very kind of tapped into independent movies, and I've done a bunch of independent movies, and
The problems began during early rehearsals. Bullock was known for being private and self-contained in her process. She preferred working through scenes alone, making her own choices, and arriving on set fully prepared. Affleck worked the opposite way. He liked talking through scenes, discussing motivations, and building chemistry through conversation. When he tried engaging Bullock, she kept her responses brief and distant, often walking away instead of continuing the discussion. Affleck made several attempts to connect. He asked about her character's backstory, emotional state, and how she viewed their on-screen relationship. Bullock would give vague answers or quickly change the subject. According to one crew member, Affleck seemed genuinely confused by her coldness. He wasn't used to co-stars being so closed off. One particularly uncomfortable moment happened during a car scene where the characters were meant to bond emotionally. Between takes, Affleck tried light conversation, joking about the cramped space and long shooting hours. Bullock responded with polite smiles before turning to stare out the window. The silence became awkward for everyone involved. The tension spilled into public view during an Entertainment Weekly interview. Asked about Bullock, Affleck described her as secretive and said she talked without saying anything meaningful, even mocking her responses as wah 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 wah. The quote made headlines. Bullock never replied publicly, though people close to her said she was deeply hurt. After the film flopped both critically and commercially, their relationship froze completely. They avoided each other at premieres, press events, and interviews. Neither ever worked together again. The movie faded into obscurity, but for Affleck, the real disaster wasn't the box office. It was being paired with someone he could never break through to. Affleck's frustration with Bullock's distance was real, but nothing compared to the public disaster waiting with his next co-star catastrophe. Number 6. Jennifer Lopez.
To live my life in a way that, and then, you know, during the divorce, they printed fucking horrible lies.
Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck created Hollywood's most famous disaster, Gigli in 2003. The romantic comedy bombed so spectacularly, it became a punchline for decades. But the real nightmare wasn't just the movie. It was filming it, while their relationship exploded into tabloid insanity, destroying both their careers temporarily. They met on set as the tabloids dubbed them Bennifer. The chemistry was immediate and real. The media attention was instant and overwhelming. Paparazzi followed them everywhere. Every date, every kiss, every moment became front-page news. The pressure was crushing, and it bled into the production of Gigli in ways nobody anticipated. The film's script was already weak. A low-level mobster and a lesbian assassin fall in love. The premise made no sense. The dialogue was terrible. Director Martin Brest struggled to make it work, but the studio saw dollar signs when Affleck and Lopez started dating. They demanded reshoots to play up the romance. The movie morphed from a quirky crime comedy into a vehicle for the real-life couple. Filming the reshoots was torture for Affleck. Photographers camped outside every location. Helicopters followed them to set. Affleck couldn't leave his trailer without cameras in his face. Lopez handled it better initially, but even she started cracking under the pressure. Between takes, they'd argue about the media attention. She wanted to embrace it. He wanted privacy. Neither got what they wanted. The famous gobble gobble scene became the movie's most mocked moment. Affleck had to say lines about Lopez's body that made him visibly uncomfortable. You can see it in his eyes during the scene. He's dying inside. When the movie leaked early and the initial reactions were brutal, Affleck knew his career was in trouble. He started distancing himself from Lopez personally and professionally. Gigli opened to devastating reviews and embarrassing box office numbers. Critics destroyed it. Audiences ignored it. Affleck's career nosedived. He followed it with Jersey Girl, another movie with Lopez in a supporting role. That flopped too. 2 movies, 2 disasters, all tied to his relationship with Lopez. The breakup happened shortly after, but the damage was permanent. Decades later, they reunited romantically, married, then divorced again. But during those years between, Affleck clearly hated what Lopez represented. The worst period of his professional life, the tabloid nightmare, the humiliation. Every mention of Gigli reminded him of failure. Lopez moved on successfully. Affleck struggled for years. The imbalance made the memories worse. He didn't hate her personally, but he hated what they became together on screen. Lopez's films damaged Affleck's career, but the next actor on the list created tension in a completely unexpected way. Number 5, Henry Cavill.
You know, and Zach was like, no, this guy, he's older and he's really f***ed up and he's broken down and he's on the edge of moral bankruptcy.
Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck barely spoke while filming Justice League, and that silence said a lot. Affleck was Batman. Cavill was Superman. They were meant to be the heart of the DC movie universe. 2 heroes leading a huge franchise together. Instead, they stayed distant, and tension slowly grew, mostly on Affleck's side. At the start, the problem wasn't personal. Cavill was calm, focused, and truly happy to play Superman. He trained hard, stayed positive on set, and spoke well about the movies. Affleck began Batman 5 Superman the same way. He loved the role, pushed his body to the limit, and was excited to play a darker version of Batman. But things quickly went wrong. Behind the scenes, the DC universe became messy. Studios kept changing scripts, tones, and plans. Directors came and went. Affleck watched his Batman change again and again. By the time Justice League started filming, he was worn out. His personal life was falling apart, his drinking was getting worse, and the constant reshoots were exhausting. When Joss Whedon took over, things felt even harder. Affleck would come in, film his scenes, and leave right away. Cavill stayed the opposite. He joked with the crew, worked out between takes, and tried to stay upbeat. That difference made Affleck feel worse. During a reshoot scene where Batman and Superman talk about the team, Affleck looked tired and empty. Cavill tried to bring energy, but Affleck couldn't match it. After several takes, Whedon pulled Affleck aside. People on set could see his frustration. The gap showed during press tours too. Cavill talked excitedly about Superman's future. Affleck gave short, careful answers and avoided details. At Comic-Con, Cavill engaged with fans while Affleck looked uncomfortable and distant. When Affleck finally quit Batman, Cavill stayed on. That difference hurt. Cavill seemed able to handle the pressure. Affleck couldn't. He later said the experience was toxic and draining. He never blamed Cavill directly. They never worked together again. It wasn't hatred, just quiet bitterness, stress, and a franchise that broke one man while the other survived. Cavill represented Affleck's professional failures, but the actor coming up next brought out something even more personal and petty. Number 4, Chris Tucker.
And also, he knows everybody. Like, I'm not even kidding. You can bring up a name. It doesn't matter if it's like Muhammad Ali.
Chris Tucker made Ben Affleck look uncomfortable during the Air Press tour, and Affleck clearly hated it. The 2023 film told the story of Nike signing Michael Jordan. Affleck directed the movie and starred alongside Matt Damon, with a strong supporting cast that included Tucker. The film was praised, but the press tour quickly became awkward because Tucker kept taking over every interview. Tucker played Howard White, a Nike executive and close friend of Jordan. His role was small but memorable. During press events, Tucker brought his usual high energy. He was loud, funny, and constantly talking. At early press conferences, he dominated the conversation. He interrupted others, told long stories, and made everyone laugh. Affleck sat quietly, trying to stay professional, but his frustration was easy to see. The tension grew during group interviews. Affleck and Damon were meant to be the focus since they were the faces behind the film, but Tucker kept jumping in. A reporter would ask Affleck about directing, and Tucker would cut in with a joke or personal story before Affleck could finish. This happened again and again. Each time, Affleck looked more annoyed. One panel made things worse. Tucker went on a long speech about Michael Jordan that had nothing to do with the movie. The crowd loved it. Affleck stared forward, clearly irritated. When Tucker finally stopped, Affleck tried to steer the talk back to the film. Tucker instantly cracked another joke, getting laughs while Affleck forced a tight smile. The most painful moment came during a TV interview. The host asked Affleck about working with the cast. Tucker immediately jumped in and talked for 3 minutes. The interview was short, and Affleck barely got time to speak about his own movie. When it ended, his goodbye was cold. Fans noticed the tension. Clips of Affleck's annoyed reactions spread online. Tucker seemed unaware and kept acting the same. After that, Affleck avoided doing interviews with him. At the premiere, they posed together but barely spoke. Tucker meant no harm, but for Affleck, it felt disrespectful. The resentment was obvious, and it's unlikely they'll work together again. Tucker annoyed Affleck professionally, but the next name on the list connects to one of Affleck's most painful personal mistakes. Number 3, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, we're gonna play a game. Brad or Ben? It'll be fun. Okay.
Brad.
No. I didn't even ask you a question.
Gwyneth Paltrow became one of Ben Affleck's biggest regrets, and what happened between them left a quiet grudge that lasted for years. They dated in the late 1990s when both were rising stars in Hollywood. Affleck was fresh off Good Will Hunting, feeling confident and unstoppable. Paltrow had just won praise for Shakespeare in Love. From the outside, they looked like a perfect couple with bright futures. Everything changed after one bad night at Steven Spielberg's house. Spielberg was not just a famous director, he was also Paltrow's mentor and close friend. He invited the couple over and treated Affleck warmly. During the visit, Affleck and Paltrow got into a heated argument. No one agrees on every detail, but things spiraled out of control. At some point, Affleck ended up in a physical fight in the swimming pool with Spielberg's teenage son. No matter how it started, the result was shocking and embarrassing. Spielberg was furious. Paltrow was deeply ashamed. Soon after, she and Affleck broke up. But the breakup was not the biggest loss. Affleck had burned a major bridge in Hollywood. Spielberg wanted nothing more to do with him, and Paltrow fully sided with Spielberg. In powerful industry circles, Affleck's name was suddenly viewed differently. Over time, Affleck blamed Paltrow for the situation. In his mind, if they had not been dating, none of it would have happened. That anger slowly turned into resentment. Paltrow moved on easily, built a strong career, and later created her Goop brand. Affleck, meanwhile, struggled with career lows and personal problems. They avoided each other at events and never spoke in public. Paltrow mentioned other exes in interviews, but never Affleck. He did the same. They have never made peace. The silence between them says everything. Paltrow's presence reminds Affleck of lost opportunities, but the next actor created tension in the most unexpected professional setting. Number 2, Will Arnett.
You confront our very difficult creative choices where you have one thing that's so good and another thing that's so good, but they can't both be in the movie.
Right, like you and Matt on the show tonight. Like one of you had to leave,
Right,
you know, and
right.
it was,
That was a hard
unfortunate,
choice.
but yeah, but I am psyched about it.
Filmmakers made a similar choice with your work in the film. They had to make a tough choice.
Will Arnett and Ben Affleck had one of Hollywood's quietest but strangest feuds, and most people don't know it happened. They worked together a few times, but under the polite surface, tension simmered. The conflict centered on Affleck's struggle with comedy and Arnett's natural talent for it. Affleck has always wanted to be funny. Early roles in Dazed and Confused and Chasing Amy showed promise, but his bigger comedy films often failed. Movies like Gigli, Surviving Christmas, and Reindeer Games flopped, denting his confidence. Arnett, by contrast, became a comedy star. Arrested Development turned him into a legend, and his voice work in animated projects was always praised. He made comedy look effortless. They first met on Extract in 2009. Their roles were small, but the difference was clear. Arnett improvised naturally, making the crew laugh. Affleck tried to match him, but his jokes fell flat. The director used Arnett's improvisations in the final cut, while Affleck's attempts were often cut. Observers noted Affleck's frustration growing each day. Tension increased when both played Batman in different ways. Arnett voiced Lego Batman, a comedic hit. Affleck played DCU Batman seriously, and fans criticized him heavily. Every praise for Lego Batman felt like a jab at Affleck. At a 2017 event, someone joked about the two Batmans. Arnett laughed easily. Affleck's smile was stiff. They barely interacted, and the tension was obvious. Over time, Arnett continued landing comedy roles Affleck might have wanted. Affleck focused on dramas and action films, while comedy doors closed. Affleck never publicly attacked Arnett, but those who know them say the dislike is mutual. Arnett thinks Affleck takes himself too seriously. Affleck sees Arnett as a reminder of what he couldn't achieve in comedy. Their feud is quiet, professional, and rooted in jealousy. Affleck hates that Arnett makes comedy look easy. Arnett represents Affleck's comedy failures, but the #1 spot belongs to the actor who symbolizes everything wrong with Affleck's career choices. Number 1, George Clooney.
It's funny because it's exactly the opposite. Came to me on Oceans, and I was like, I don't know, George. I don't know if you're a star. I don't know if you're any good. I'm going to see. How do these franchises work? Who are these other actors you've assembled? Is this going to be any good? Who is this Soderbergh? I'm not ready for this, and I don't believe in you yet. I'm going to keep you at arm's length. And then I thought,
like
you know
that.
what? I'm going to give you a crack with Argo. Oh, you can produce it, but you know what I mean? Just let's see if your ideas are any good or not.
George Clooney has long been Ben Affleck's ultimate Hollywood rival, and the tension runs deeper than most people know. Both have played Batman, both have directed prestige films, and both have survived career setbacks. But while Clooney emerged as Hollywood royalty, Affleck has had to fight for every ounce of respect. The constant comparisons have turned admiration into quiet resentment. It began with Batman. Clooney starred in Batman and Robin in 1997. The film was a disaster, critically slammed, financially weak, and career-damaging. Clooney apologized and moved on gracefully. Affleck was cast as Batman in 2016, and the internet exploded. People compared him to Clooney's failure. Affleck wanted to redeem the character, but his Batman was also criticized. Unlike Clooney, whose misstep was a minor footnote, Affleck's struggle became a defining moment during a vulnerable phase of his career. The directing comparisons made things worse. Clooney directed Good Night and Good Luck to critical acclaim and Oscar nominations. Affleck directed Gone Baby Gone, well-received but less celebrated. Clooney's second film, The Ids of March, got attention. Affleck's The Town also got praise, but Clooney always seemed a step ahead. Even when Affleck won Best Picture for Argo in 2013, the victory felt incomplete. Clooney's career remained steady, his reputation untouchable. Affleck's personal life added to the contrast: divorces, public struggles, and tabloid stories, while Clooney maintained a scandal-free image. In public, they are friendly. They've worked together indirectly, and neither speaks ill of the other. But those close to Affleck say he obsesses over Clooney comparisons. Every discussion of Batman or directing reminds him of Clooney's effortless success. Affleck doesn't hate Clooney personally, he hates what Clooney represents: charm, stability, and recognition achieved without the constant struggle Affleck endured. In Affleck's mind, Clooney has won a contest he didn't even know existed, and the resentment is quiet but absolute. 7 actors who shaped Ben Affleck's career through tension and rivalry. From tabloid disasters to quiet professional grudges, Affleck remembered every slight. Which feud shocked you most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Hollywood drama nobody talks about openly, hit subscribe now.